Hello, welcome to the Sideboard at the StarCityGames.com Players Championship 2016 edition. I'm Nick Miller alongside our most newly minted invitational champion, Jacob Baugh. Has it sunk in yet?
Yeah, it has. It's definitely something I thought I'd never do, basically, for going back a few years. But it's pretty much an honor, yeah.
Well, you won the event in convincing fashion.
Yep.
You did it so with Naya Aetherworks, which is a deck you're bringing back to the Players Championship here.
Yeah, I tried a bunch. I actually didn't test much with the deck I'm actually playing, which is kind of weird. I tried a bunch of different decks to see if there was something that could dethrone Marvel as where it's standing, I think, in the format. I didn't find anything that was convincing enough to play something else, so I just ran it back. So I didn't make any really changes to my main deck. Mostly just the sideboard changes.
Okay, so if you can't find anything that beats it,
yeah,
might as well just play it again.
Yep.
All right, well, let's dive into it. We saw it on display in Atlanta. Aetherworks Marvel, this is the card the deck runs around.
Yeah, it's pretty great. A lot of times you change the numbers of how many you have post-board, but it's definitely the biggest draw to playing this deck. And casting really quick Emrakul's is pretty unbeatable in this format. Just the Emrakul itself is just so absurdly powerful.
Yeah.
You thought that it was just a fixed Mindslaver, but it's still just as good.
Yeah.
The turn, it's like unlikely to matter most of the time.
Right. Front page, these are the cards that kind of do everything for the deck here. Your Marvel is going to find either Emrakul or it's going to find Ishkanah, which is going to kind of give you the time. Or you can just hardcast Ishkanah, which we saw you guys do playing this deck.
Hardcasting Ishkanah is basically what gets you to the later turns and when you don't have Marvel, and buys you enough time to just actually hardcast your Emrakuls, which is certainly happens more than I would say you hitting it off Marvel.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we definitely saw a lot of Marvels just whiff, including in your semifinal where you kind of whiffed twice before really finding the piece that won you that match.
It's kind of weird. Yeah, there's whiffs and then there's rebuys, and it's a lot different when you hit like a puzzle knot or enough energy to just use it again, and compared to just hitting actual nothing, which was what I think I hit most of the time. Yeah. It was just maybe 1 or 2 energy off the cards I found. So
all right, we'll keep moving through the pieces here. This is kind of what separates your build and the Naya build from most of the other ones. You know, we saw Teamer, we saw Green-Red. Naya here with Nahiri being the real draw to this deck.
Yeah, Nahiri is just fantastic against the mirror, first of all, and against blue-white, removing stasis snares is pretty important, because most of the time they'll get to quell your Marvel and even just like tempo you out of the game with multiple quellers. Just having more answers to that and stasis snares for your early creatures helps so much in those early turns against that matchup where you can decide if you're going to live or just get run over. So it's a huge draw, I would say. And
also great in the mirror, which we saw in the finals.
Yeah.
Just being able to blow up opposing Aetherworks and just filtering cards.
Yeah, it also helps you get Delirium a lot easier than the other style decks where you have to draw all your cards, where you can just start looting with Nahiri and just build your Delirium that way. And just having more Planeswalkers in your deck has you more types that you can get in your graveyard. So.
Okay, Chandra and Sigarda, another card that pulled a lot of weight in the finals. And if you expect a lot of Aetherworks Marvel mirrors, Sigarda is a good place to be.
Yeah, just Emrakul, turning off the best part of Emrakul, like the 13/13 is pretty still hard to deal with, but it's definitely beatable, unlike the taking your turn and just destroying everything you had going. And the information that you get from knowing your opponent's hand is always huge. So.
Sure.
But yeah, the hexproof is great. The tokens come up a lot in blue-white as well. So just having something to block it in every turn and turn off that line for the victory is pretty great. Yep. And Chandra is just a great ramp tool. And it's another removal spell, which the deck doesn't have that many, so it helps a lot.
I think when people were looking at Chandra, everyone said, you know, she will be as good as her ramp ability is good. Yep. And this deck really lets you see how powerful that is when you get to play Emrakul hardcast ahead of schedule.
Yep.
Moving on for the rest of the cards here, this is kind of where we start finding our Energy Core and our Delirium Core. Conduit, and then the Harness Lightning along with the Vessel here.
Yeah, Conduit serves a huge role in this, obviously powering out your spells faster and just giving you energy when you need it for your Marvels. And it just trading off a 2-mana 2/2 in the early turns against like Grimflare and stuff like that is just also useful too. Yeah, so.
Got the removal spell, then we can move on to the next one because we're going to have kind of more of the same. along with the vessel, you have Attune and Traverse, which kind of aid in this finding your lands, give you energy, give you delirium.
Yeah, and this kind of every energy deck has played pretty much 4 Attunes since the beginning of pretty much people tried testing the format with that mechanic. So Attune's just the bread and butter of energy strategies, and then Traverse. The deck had a lot of problems flooding out when you just played 23, 22 lands, so ended up just wanting to shave them for Traverses, since the majority of your lands are untapped lands anyways, so these are basically like tap lands that can kind of turn into late game spells, so it's really nice to have that. And Puzzle Knot, more energy.
Yep.
It's basically a fog and a bunch of energy. So
yeah, energy and fog, pretty good combination when you're just trying to buy time to play your Aetherworks Marvel. Next slide, we'll see the lands is kind of important. Aether Hub here, of course. You're a 3-color deck plus energy. Not going to play it.
Yeah, it's certainly very important to the mana base to let you play all these cards like that you're playing. So.
Game Trail and then Evolving Wilds going along with the Delirium plan, just putting lands in your graveyard. Then we're going to see the basics that you can search up with your Evolving Wilds and your Attune with the Aether.
Yep.
All right, so we'll move on to the sideboard here. This is where you kind of switch the cards up. You're basically playing the same deck from the Invitational main deck-wise, but now you're switching it up.
Yeah, the same 60 for the main. The sideboard, I took a little bit from Ben's sideboard. I like the Galvanic Bombardments on the board over the destroying flyer creatures, the deal 5 to flyer.
Right, Tear of Valakut.
Tear of Valakut. Because the Mardu matchup is kind of rough, so this card helps a lot in that matchup. I expected it to be some of those style decks, maybe some of the energy decks as well, the aggressive red-green ones with pump spells. So the cheap interactive spells are pretty important in that matchup as well. So I lean towards that strategy instead.
Okay. Then you got Kozilek's Return and Tireless Tracker here.
Yeah.
Another sweeper, and then Tireless Tracker just great in all the grindy matchups.
Pretty much. I had 3 and 3 before. I ended up going down to 2 and 2 just because of how my boarding plans worked, how I worked out. I was only bringing in 2 trackers instead of 3 in a lot of matchups because I just had so many other cards in my sideboard I wanted, and my main deck, like I never wanted to cut the other Marvel decks don't have Nahiris, so they have a little bit of different spells that they want to cut, and I just never want to cut Nahiris, so I didn't have as much stuff to take out.
Sure.
So I ended up shaving on that number because I didn't use the 3rd tracker as much as I wanted. So
we'll continue on looking there at the sideboard. Another Sigarda, just too important to not have in the mirror matches.
Yeah.
Ulamog, another card great in the mirror, which we saw you use to great efficiency winning the Invitational. Just Ulamog when you need it to blow up important permanents.
Yeah, it's very important to have another hit on your Marvel. That's because it turns down the game digresses to just who marvels first and who marvels in the best things. If someone doesn't have something like a Sigarda in play, or just early pressure like that. So it's the normal game plan. So I definitely think I need access to it in my sideboard. The second Sigarda, just like you said, it's just great. Just 1 extra copies. Can't find room for it in the main deck. I don't know if it maybe should be there, but I don't know what to change around to get it there. So, and I went with Fragmentize for my way to kill artifacts and enchantments, mostly because it kills the Marvel compared to the green one that only hits 3 drops.
Sure. Natural state.
I went I just wanted a 1-mana spell because I don't want to take my whole turn off to kill it and place the 3-mana one that gains 2 life.
Right. You also don't have to kind of overload on that because you already have Nahiri, which kind of can help you with that.
Yeah, I only had 2 before. I went down to 1. So.
Okay, look, one more slide to go here. We're going to see another Ishkanah, Nissa, and Clipwings as a kind of new way to kill flyers.
Yeah.
Coming from your previous version with tiers.
Yeah, I had Clipwings for a while. Ended up making it. It was 2 tiers, 1 Clipwings. Made it 3 tiers. Mostly because I thought Blue White was going to be more important, but I actually decided I want Clipwings for the Mirror because it kills Sigarda and Emrakul.
Sure.
So having answers to those cards is pretty important. And against black-green, it can kill demons, which can pressure you early. If they're going to win a game, they're going to steal it from you with early aggressive creatures. So Clipwings helps a lot for fighting demon, and kills Emrakul, obviously, still in that matchup.
Sure.
It's
all right. Nissa, you can go over real quick.
Yeah. Nissa so much, not so much. I was going to talk about the 4th Ishkanah, but the Ishkanah was pretty much there for blue-white. I just think you want access to 4 of them, so I wanted adding the other one.
World Breaker here, another card that's just great off Marvel and good in the mirrors.
Yeah, that's pretty much only for the mirror. You can board it in against you play against one of the the blue-black. I don't care, the enchantment that makes tokens, that deck.
Right.
Yeah, just the super grindy matchups that you would just want threats you can bring back.
And we got to mention the token here. We got to see this unveiled, last week on Twitter. Now you kind of seeing it here again.
Yeah, I see the actual layout and not just the picture. Yeah, I love the art. It's great. It's everything I wanted in. So, and it looks great on the token. So,
all right,
I'm very happy with it.
Invitation to win. You got the token. You've seen the token. The token will be coming soon. Yep. But now we got the Players Championship. How are you feeling for this event?
Pretty good. I like my shot so far. So, if everything falls the way I expected it to. So.
Okay. Quickly, how do you think the standard metagame is going to shake out?
Mostly the same. I don't think a lot of players are going to switch off the decks they've been playing. But I think maybe some of the green-white deck that Wesco unveiled at GP Denver could make a appearance here. But that's the only deck that's kind of new that would break from the mold.
All right. Well, you're the player coming in with the most momentum on the biggest streak, so you got to be feeling pretty good, right? All right. Well, Jacob, best of luck here in your first Players Championship. I'm Nick Miller here in the sideboard. Stay tuned to StarCityGames.com all weekend long for the action here in Roanoke.